Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Suhoor Bites, where we take a few moments each morning to reflect on the wisdom of the Qur'an. In these blessed moments before dawn, as we nourish our bodies for the day of fasting ahead, let us also feed our souls with the light of divine guidance. Each day we will reflect on a verse from the Qur'an, drawing on inspiration and lessons to carry with us throughout the day. Today we will be looking at verse 71 from Surah An'am. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قُلْ أَنَّدْعُو مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَنْفَعُنَا وَلَا يَضُرُّنَا وَنَرُدُّ عَلَىٰ أَعْقَابِنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَانَا اللَّهُ. Say, shall we invoke besides Allah that which can neither benefit us nor harm us, and turn back on our heels after Allah has guided us? This verse, like much of Surah An'am, was revealed in Mecca during a period of intense conflict between the early Muslims and the polytheists from Quraysh. The Quraysh were actively trying to dissuade Muslims from their faith and revert them to idol worship. You can imagine what that environment was like. Although the Arabs at the time believed in one supreme and ultimate God, they also believed some of the responsibilities and actions of God, such as providing sustenance, helping the crops to grow, the movement of the sun and the moon, and the pouring of the rain, were actions of smaller gods and deities. They would then build statues and small temples in which they would pray to these gods and give them offerings when asking for a good yield of crops, or if it was a dry season and they needed rain, they would turn to the god of rain, pray to him, and see that rain would fall. Over many years, this practice became entrenched within society, and it is within this environment that the Prophet was instructed to give the message of La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah. In other words, he does not delegate the responsibility of providing the crops and rain, or movement of the sun and the moon, life or death, to anyone else, nor does he have small gods who have specific roles and functions in this world. Any idols or statues that are created are simply just man-made items that cannot affect any change in this world. They are statues that can be created and destroyed without any effect on any aspect of life. The environment in which the Prophet was trying to recalibrate the belief system that people held is extremely important, as it gives us a lot of food for thought today. In our lives, we often want something to happen, such as getting that job offer or work placement, or getting into a specific course at a particular university, or the business contract that will help catapult my business. There are numerous examples that we can think of. We will often look at the various factors that are involved in getting the desired outcome. For example, with getting the job offer, we know that there is interview preparation to do, maybe speak to someone you know who can put in a good word for you, or help you with the interview questions, telling you what to say and how to say it, to win over the interviewer, or even cultivating a good relationship with your manager so they favour you over the other candidates. These are small actions in and of themselves, with some such as preparing for the interview that are necessary, but in this process we may fixate on these smaller actions as if they have the power to get you the job, and although deep down we will believe in one supreme God, we may attribute the ability to finally get that job to the smaller actions. Similar to how the Quraysh did when they would turn to the god of rain when it was the dry season. It is easy to get lost in the fact that all of these small actions have no power to get you the job, and in fact it is Allah who has the ultimate power to make things happen in this universe. A question that might come to your mind is, how do we balance these smaller actions and having a say in what we do in our day-to-day lives, rather than becoming deterministic and thinking that Allah has decided everything anyway and we can't really change the outcome? There is a fine balance between the two. In Surah Al-Imran, verse 159, we have an answer from what the Prophet would do. This verse was revealed after the battle of Uhud and says, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا أَزَّمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, and consult them in their affairs, and once you have decided, put your trust in Allah. According to this verse, Allah is instructing the Prophet to have consultation, make a decision to act, and then leave the result in Allah's hands. What we can take from this is that we should do all the work needed to prepare for the interview, speak to people if needed, possess the necessary skills for the job, but the result is in Allah's hands, because He is the only one that can decide the outcome. And sometimes this outcome may be in line with what you want, other times it may not be. But the power and ability to get you the job is not in your hands, or the hands of others. It lies solely and ultimately with Allah. It's not easy to remove your expectation from the smaller actions, or even people, to help you get your desired outcome. But it is important to recalibrate our minds and hearts so that, although we may perform the same actions, we are able to have conviction that Allah is the ultimate decider of what happens. We can recalibrate ourselves by learning about Allah and how He acts in this world, reflecting on what we are putting our trust on in this world, and then shifting the focus back to Allah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل أندعو من دون الله ما لا ينفعنا ولا يضرنا ونرد على أعقابنا بعد إذ هدانا الله كالذي استهوته الشياطين في الأرض حيران له أصحاب يدعونه إلى الهدى ائتنا قل إن هدى الله هو الهدى وأمرنا لنسلم لرب العالمين.